2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's the Bible commandments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's the Bible commandments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. B-I-B-L-E commandments. 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've been in this church for years. I'm a preacher, I'm adamant. There's rules to the walk. God wrote them on tablets. Step-by-step commandments for you to get your life on track, not your spirit on racks. Number one is the problem that I most find. You can't have any other gods before the Most High. Not a Allah or Selassie, not a Yahweh or a Bali, not a Buddha. They intruded with all of their folly. Number two is just as vital. Thou shalt have no idols, not a cross, not a stock, not a stone, not a ankh. And oh yeah, no images of Jesus, cause it's really bullshit. Number three, this one is simple, but y'all be playing. Don't take the name of God in vain. That's for naught, cause he won't hold you guiltless. I don't know what you was thinking, I don't know what you was taught. Number
Most High in Christ,
had to be added, cause he knew you would forget
that's what about it. Most High in Christ. I mean, what else can I say? I mean, it's good to be back on this stage. It's good to be in the presence of, hey, Miss Jackson. Yeah, I'm back. It is good for you to see my wonderful face, hear my beautiful voice. Listen, it has been a while, and I have a lot of things to talk about. However, since I'm back for the first time in a while, and happy Feast of Dedication, you know, listen, I'm overwhelmed, I'm overjoyed, but you know, hey, Rich, what's going on? Shalom. Listen, I'm so overjoyed that y'all are still here. I love you all to life. I don't know what to say. It's been a trial since the last time, and a lot of things have happened. You know, so I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of what's been going on with Aharon, right? With Aharon Yasharahla. It's been family has moved in. I've had passings in my family. You know, I have family still sick from taking that, you know, if you know what I mean. Um, but we're still pushing. You know, we're looking forward to great things going on as far as Passover, as far as just giving it up every day to the Most High. So again, if you're some in the background, I got family, I got a little baby in the house now, 4-year-old. So be patient with me because you know they're loud. But anyway, family, I love you all. I love you all to life. And I want to go ahead and start out this evening. So again, thank you for listening to me this evening, this morning, this afternoon, whenever you can hear me. All right. So there's been a lot of things going on. Do we have any sports athletes out there, any athletes, period, or any fans of sports? Well, me, I'm a big fan of sports, or at least I was before things changed, but basketball was my passion. And with that said, I want to speak about a brother, if you all know, by the name of Chauncey Billups. I don't know if anyone's heard of the name Chauncey Billups, but Chauncey Billups, just to give a few accolades of who he is, Chauncey Billups is currently an NBA coach, right? And he actually played in the NBA for quite some time, and he won an NBA Finals championship with none other than the Detroit Pistons, but not the bad boys that we know about or used to with Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman back in the day, John Sally, Isaiah Thomas. You know, not that group, but shortly after that group, when they had Rasheed Wallace, Chauncey Billups, and they had a very extraordinary shooting guard whose name eludes my memory. Back to Chauncey Billups, he's an NBA champion who was named the Finals NBA MVP Finals of 2004, the year that they won it. He's also a five-time NBA Star Selection. That's right, Mr. Big Shot, Chauncey Billups. He also, you know, of course, he played with Detroit Pistons, but he came from a good university at the time, Colorado Buffaloes. He was a great, great athlete back in his era. And I say back in his era because he's no longer playing, he's a coach. But I bring him up this evening, ladies and gentlemen, because there's some allegations that say Chauncey Billups is accused of gambling. He's accused of gambling against basketball, gambling against a team that he is a coach of, and he's the coach of, or was, since these allegations have come to fruition, of the Portland Trailblazers. And if you know anything about basketball, yeah, thank you, Richard Hamilton. Rip Hamilton was a shooting guard that played with him back in the day. Superb shooting guard, came out of Connecticut. Anyway, um, the allegations came up with the Portland Trailblazers, you know, who he's a coach of now, that he gambled on that. Now, if you know anything about sports, what does that sound like? That sounds like Charlie Hustle from baseball, Mr. Pete Rose, RIP. Pete Rose, if you don't know, he bet on baseball and he got caught and they banned him for baseball for life. But what they did was lift that ban after he died. But I hope it does not get that way with Mr. Chauncey Billups. You know, now my thing is, Mr. Chauncey Billups is a stand-up guy from what I understand and from what I've been following his career. And then when he got onto ESPN, I was like, wow, look at this young man. Because you know, when you leave the NBA, you're still young, right? So I'm thinking like this is a lot, you know, that throws a lot of shade on his character. And I'm like, I really like Chauncey Billups, you know. So the accusations that he was gambling on baseball, um, you know, it's also stated that he's tied up into high stakes illegal polar games allegedly run by organized crime. Now let's just break this down. Now, allegedly, family, why would someone bet? Why would someone bet? Right? A person would bet because maybe they think they can get away with it. I know I would if I knew I could bet and get away with it, especially in a coach's setting. I would if I knew I could win money. I mean, why not? Why not? Why can't I pad my pocket a little bit more? You know, tax free money. You know, because Uncle Sam gonna get his from that paycheck that I'm drawing from the NBA. But it kind of upsets me, family, that you know here we have a black man in the limelight in a capacity that he is in and can make moves and help his people to get caught up in something like this. The only thing I can really say is that I'm glad it's not nothing as far as a P. Diddy. I mean, it's all bad when you look at it long term. You know, if you're doing anything that falls short of the glory of the Most High, that falls short of the truth of Christ, then it's just wrong. Period. So I wish him Godspeed in getting his name back. I hope that these things aren't true, but what I understand and from what the papers say, they arrested him along with some other people. Now, again, I wish these things weren't true, but it is what it is. The proof is in the pudding. Again, Chauncey Billups, he's a point guard. I was a point guard. He's one of my favorite modern day players. And I say modern day because he didn't play back in the day, like you know your Larry Birds and and uh, and Magic Johnsons. You know he just missed that era, and especially he didn't especially play with you know the Kareems and the Wilts. You know that's a little bit too far back. But Chauncey Billups family, an ex NBA champion, caught up in allegations of gambling, in which these are things that make you say, hmm. Now, family, before I divulge into some other topics that I do have for tonight, I want to run by just some questions to you that will make you ponder. I'm not going to go into detail in them, just things that make you ponder. You know, I was just sitting back thinking, and a few good thoughts came to my brain. As a matter of fact, I do have a blog. I do have another page where I have a blog on a website that I almost forgot about. But these were on that page, and I thought I'll bring them out. Just some questions that you can think about, and you can write and tell me what you think. Have you all ever thought about why the greatest book that has been sold on this earth the Bible, as why it's not taught in schools. You know, there are a plethora of reasons why we can come up with that the Bible is not taught in schools. Now, in school, they do teach us history. I can remember taking history when I was in grade school, when I was in high school, but was nowhere on the level of the Bible. Now, they got on the cusp of the Bible, but was never really talked about biblically, the Bible in history classes, because the Bible is history, right? So that was one question that I did have. Why is the Bible not taught in school? And we can go into it. Just think about reasons why, and the reasons why. One reason I will say is that it's a lot of truth. It's a lot of truth that they're trying to suppress, and that's why they only teach us certain things in these school institutions. So that's one reason that I say or guess that the Bible is not taught in school. Another question, family, and these questions go hand in hand. Another question that I did have that I was pondering on as I was thinking about why the Bible is not taught in schools is, do we as people, do we as children of God, do we as followers of Christ, do we or are we under law, or are we under grace? And I say that because, again, it was another question that I had, and I can remember back a little while ago when I was doing Uber, and I picked up a pastor and his wife, black pastor. And this man, I guess because I got a young looking face, especially when I'm shaving and got my hair down. Like right now, don't worry about my hair. My hair got it ain't slicked back like your boy slick back, you know. But he got in the car and he basically was preaching off top. It was a sun god day on a Sunday, and he was going to church, and he told me that we are under grace. And I was like, okay, cool. I said, so I can go out here and rob, steal, and kill. He was like, no, we can't do that. I said, well, that's the law. He said, yeah, that's the law. I said, well, you can't have it both ways. So that was a question that I was pondering. Are we under law, family, or are we under grace? For me, just a little bit of background for how I'm thinking. I'm thinking both, right? That's what I'm thinking. Because you can't have one without the other. They coincide each other, right? you know. So that was another question I had when I was thinking about why isn't the Bible taught in school? The other thing that jumped in my head was, are we under law or are we under grace? And I guess it really depends on that answer, depending on who you're talking to. If you're talking to a rabbi, he might tell you we're under grace. The law is done away with. He might tell you that when Christ came, Christ did away with the law, the Mosaic laws. Who knows? Who knows what will come out of people's mouths depending on who their teacher was. And not only that, because most of us go by our own understanding, and we know that we're not supposed to. Yes, these questions could fall under teachings, but I am not an ordained pastor, right? I would not be teaching anything. These are just things like your boy Arsenio Hall said, things that make you go, right? And the final question, family, that I had, and this question is kind of deep. You can go on and on with all these. Like I said, these three questions go hand in hand. And this last question is, have you ever thought about, what if Israel never failed? And I'm not talking about today's Israel where they, you know, redeveloped a country in 1948. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the original Israelite Jews. What if Israel never failed? And I thought about that. I'm like, wow, that's a great question. What if Israel never did fall? Where would we be at today? Where would we be at? And I'll just say, if you read that Old Testament book of Deuteronomy 28. I'll leave it there. That will give you some insight. If you haven't ever thought about that, read that and you'll be okay. But what if we never fell? What will we as people of color, as Negroes, as the Bible tells it, where will we be today? Will we be where we say the so-called powers that be are? Our rightful position? That's what's up. You had that thought before. That's what's up. That's the spirit moving. Because we surely wouldn't be on the bottom. We surely wouldn't have had the slave trades that our people were going in and out of. The Arab slave trade, the European slave trade. We wouldn't have had that. It would have been a lot of things, family, that we would not have suffered. But because the Most High wrote this elaborate, great masterpiece called the Bible, he put it in there that we would. But what if we didn't? It would be so marvelous. But if we didn't, then who would have? Or maybe no one at all. Maybe no one at all, because the scriptures tell us that Christ came for the lost sheep. Shalom, family. Yawanah the brew. Shalom, my man. Good to see you in the house. Love you, man. I've been watching your progression. But just think, if we never fail, all the trials will be together. I mean, it will be a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing right now to watch these things play out. And you know what I'm talking about. Watch prophecy play out. So what if we never fail? Because if we never fail, then we would be under law only, right? If we never fail, doesn't that make sense? If we never fail, the Bible would be taught in school. That's so great. Again, family, it's so good to be back. It's so good to be back. And these three questions I brought out, I have an old website that I started when I actually got into this field back in Ohio Media School. And it's been so long since I graduated from there. Time flies, about almost 7 years, going on 7 years. So I forgot about that website that I had created back then, and I've actually found it because I have some writing skills as well. I can write a good bit. But outside of those three questions, I do have some material that I do want to talk about as well. But let me go back to those three questions for those who missed them. The first question was, why is the Bible not taught in school? Just things to ponder over. Are we under law or are we under grace? Yes, ma'am. Good to be back. And what if Israel never failed? And the last thing I said, question I said was, what if Israel never failed? And if we never fail, then we would be under law. Wouldn't be no need for grace, right? Makes sense to me. And the Bible would be taught in school. So like I said, all those coincide with one another. They all go hand in hand. They all go hand in hand. I'm glad you've been working hard and building. Yeah, I've been watching. That's all we got is prayer. That's all we got is each other. So again, families, this is a wonderful thing for me to be back up here. Um, I'm at a loss of words because it's been so long. Now, one thing I don't have, family, I don't have some jokes I'm going to present at the end, but I do have some jokes. I just can't present those. All right, because I'm working on some stuff and I got to save, I got to preserve those. All right, and some of them I can't say anyway. But what's been going on in this world, or what has not been going on? I mean, we still have Trump on the loose. Got Trump on the loose talking about he's his second coming. And when I heard him say that, this is before I go into what I'm going to go into. When I heard Trump say, "I'm the second coming," I'm the second coming. Well, in his own brain, he is, because this is his second coming to the White House, right? To be in POTUS. But when he says second coming, we know immediately got mad. Yeah, he said that. Yeah, you can Google that. Trump said he's the second coming. When I heard it, I had to Google it and find it. And he said, I'm the second coming, you know. So I just pray in his mind he meant he's the second coming of him back in the White House. Now, speaking of that, he's not trying to leave the White House. He's going to try to make it to where he is the final president. But the way family that they are changing laws right up under our noses, trying to change the Constitution right up under our noses, and they have been doing it. Who knows what's going to happen in the near future? I'm just trying to hold on to my seat because we got 2026 coming up, so called, and we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going to happen. And don't be deceived. Like our Messiah said, first of all, let no man deceive you. And they're going to try to deceive us. They've been trying to deceive us. They've been trying ever since 70 AD. Rather than that, they've been trying since the Garden of Eden was put into place. They've been trying since Adam and Eve was here. Let no man deceive you because they're going to try that second coming of our real Messiah. But if we know prophecy, we cannot be deceived. So many things have to happen before our Messiah returns. And we have to have our houses in order. We have to have our houses in order, right? And we will. And we will. Because things are doing nothing but getting tougher for us. And what we're doing, we're staying prayed up, paying our tithes, going to Passover, helping each other, checking on each other, laughing with each other, crying with each other. That's what it's about. One body, one mind, one spirit. Again, I miss y'all so much. This is a wonderful thing to be on this platform. And I thank the Most High for those who are in control of this platform to let me again come back and spew a few words on you all. Now I'm going to go into a few things that I did have on paper. And I do write some things down. So forgive me if I'm looking over, to the side just to refresh my memory. So speaking of Mr. Trump, now I don't know if you all have heard about this. And I was looking this up. I'm like, I gotta mention this. Now, how many of us out there have student loan debt? I do. Me over here. you know, that's one debt. They was slick with that debt, family. That's one debt that you take to your grave, literally. It's the only time it's gonna be a write off is when you off the face of this earth. But while you above ground, listen. Oh, all praises, not anymore. Okay, Miss Jackson, please do tell. You know, send me a link or two so I can wipe that debt. But anyway, the Trump administration has a plan to reduce access to some student loans. Now, when I saw this, family, I was like, okay. And when I read up on it, I'm like, all right, well, that sounds pretty good because I wouldn't want student loans to be on my worst enemy. That is a debt that you cannot, like I said, you can't even file for bankruptcy and it's wiped clean. You file for bankruptcy and it's still right there. Like, what's happening? What's good? I'm with you. That's the monkey on your back. But what this is saying, family, the Trump administration plans to reduce access to some student loans. So if you're pursuing a degree and it isn't considered a professional program, then you may not qualify for full student loans, which to me, I'm like, okay, cool. Saying that I'm in debt and how it works, right? But I'm going to rattle off to you all some of these programs, right, that will qualify for full 100% student loans and the ones that will qualify for partial. So if you are getting a degree in pharmacy, dentistry, veterinary, medicine, chiropractic, law, optometry, osteopathic medicine, podiatry, and theology. I'll say it again. theology, podiatry, osteopathic medicine, optometry, medicine itself, law, chiropractic, veterinary medicine, dentistry, and pharmacy. All of those are considered professional programs and are eligible for 100% student loans. Now, check this out. The ones they have that are not eligible for 100% student loans or partial are some of them are oxymoron: nursing, physical therapy, dental hygiene, occupational therapy, and social work. If you are getting a degree in those, you will not be able to get 100% tuition, 100% student loan. So, with that said, when I look into it or dive deeper into it, family, Trump is hoping that by doing this, slashing some student loans, right, that people can get, he's hoping that these institutions would lower their tuition. Now, it sounds good, but what really is the end goal here? Because there's always a different agenda. And what I'm thinking, allegedly, right? Yeah, nursing. Because when you look at nursing, you're right, Ms. Jackson. When you look at nursing would fall under, it falls under medicine. It's, I mean, don't you have to study medicine to be a nurse? It's insane. So what I think they're doing is the Trump administration and the powers that be. I think they're trying to limit certain fields or maybe abolish certain fields because this AI is coming about. And I can see that as far as nursing or doctors are concerned, because what they're pushing for is for people to call over the phone and get a diagnosis over the phone, because some people, will go to the doctor and there's nothing major. Oh, my finger been hurting for 5 days. I don't know what's going on. When they forgot they banged it real hard because they were drunk that night, right? And now they got a pain in their finger and they don't know what's going on. So they waste time at the doctor when it could be a self-diagnosis. So what they're doing now is you can call over the phone and they can tell you through whatever little insurance you have, tell you what's going on based on the symptoms you tell them. That's one That's one thing that I believe they're trying to cut back on student loan funding. Another thing I think is that they're just trying to cut back on student loan funding because they don't want a nation of thinkers. They want a nation of workers. And you know what Rothschild said? I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. And that's what they're trying to get back to, a nation of workers. Look at who's coming into the United States. Workers. They call them immigrants. They're workers. Where I work at, my place of work, there are a lot of our Issachar brothers and sisters there. Yeah, I work in construction, electrical work to be, as a matter of fact. So I see it day in, day out. The landscape is changing. So that's what I believe uh, Mr. Trump is doing. And this actually falls, family, believe it or not, this actually falls under a part of the big beautiful bill. Y'all remember that? The big beautiful bill that messing up some of the SNAP benefits and Medicaid and Medicare, just changing things up. They're trying to say for the SNAP benefits that they want people to work and not just solely rely on the government, which you should not. We should not solely rely on just one job. We should have multiple streams of income, which we call a hustle. Be Jamaican like my brother Mike. God, love you, brother Michael, to life. You got multiple streams of income. That's what we have to be. That's how we have to be self-sufficient. Think outside the box, right? So that's what Mr. Trump has going on, is to reduce some student loan money to certain programs that they don't deem that are, for lack of a better word, or for real words, real careers. So moving along, family, I was, of course, digging in, finding a few things, and I found something else Trump wrote. I was looking to executive orders that he wrote, and this comes about recently, November 24th, yesterday of 2025. It's called the Genesis Mission. Trump signed an order which directs the federal government to build a nationwide AI-powered research platform. I was like, whoa, hold on now. Yes, sir. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, I'm back. I'm trying to be back. The Genesis Mission, family. He wrote into fruition yesterday an executive order in which he's ordering the federal government to build a nationwide AI-powered research platform. Now, the goal, family, of this platform is to combine data from national labs, supercomputers, and other federal resources to accelerate scientific discovery. It's a mouthful. So basically, what he's doing, he's basically creating a giant AI system to where they're going to pull from every national database there is here in the United States and supercomputers and put everything into this one database for AI to just see everything. And they've been working on this. If they're telling us now that they have it. It's probably not perfected, but they have it. So, for example, when Facebook had the facial recognition thing and they took it away, that's because they had everybody's face. Everyone who was somebody that was on there that had a file, a profile, a page, mind you, they already had your face, whether you opted into it or not. They had it. Have your voice, have our voices, all of that. So that's another reason why I tell people stop posting your life on Facebook. Stop posting your life on Instagram on these social media outlets because all that's doing is giving them insight on what we got going on. And we don't want nobody. Listen, when we was kids, we didn't even want our mama to know what was going on, let alone the government, let alone Big Brother. So that's what this is about, in my opinion, family. The Genesis Mission, which he wrote an executive order for yesterday. Ironically, yesterday. I couldn't believe it. That's why I put this down so y'all could hear about this. He's creating um this giant system of AI to just have everyone's information. So that way, when they unleash this mark, right? Uh, hey, it's going to be a part of that. The Genesis mission is going to be a part of that. I mean, you know, I'm glad you're here too. Thank you, Jahar. Listen, I mean, like the scriptures tell us, he is smarter than Daniel. Satan, Samael, Loki, Lucifer. He has many names. Confusion. He is smarter than Daniel. And look at what's going on. Look at all of this. We're here. We thought that we would never see the Jetsons. We've made it. We've made it to Jetsons. We never thought we'd see Rosie. They go to Rosie right there on the screen. Rosie right there from the Jetsons. Looking at her. Look at her. All pale face and everything. Hey, but we're here. They've been telling us in movies for decades, this is what's going to happen. And we're here. None of us thought it was going to happen until recently. But the scriptures tell us this. It said there will be a boom of knowledge. We're here. Yeah, updated Rosie. That's right. A boom of knowledge. People will be running to and fro. The internet. The stuff is at our fingertips. I can chat GPT, blue, 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 woo, woo, woo. That's all we got. But like our great guy said, he said, if y'all know what I'm talking about, he said, everybody's relying on this chat GPT right now and all these other AI things. Eventually, they're going to charge for it. I mean, think about it. Think about it. We have lawyers right now. We'll call a lawyer's agency to ask a few questions, and we'll pay them a retainer's fee or whatever it is, just to ask some questions. But when you can ask that same question into AI, Chat GPT, whatever it is, whatever AI you use, we can use that same thing. We can use that same thing, but wait until they start charging for it. That's gonna be that's gonna be something, family. So it's good if we don't get uh, reliant or dependent on it. It's good if we don't, but easier said than done because we're always having a bright idea. We're always surfing the web for something. We're always trying to find that new hustle. We're always trying to find that new piece of money to get us over. And Chat GPT, listen, I use Chat GPT. I use Chat GPT to do some research, you know, and I don't just go with that. I asked Chat GPT a question the other day and I ran it past my bishop and he was like, no, hold up now. And I was like, yeah, because that don't sound right to me. That's not what I've learned. So we got to be careful by just going by a computer. Because then poses a question, who's smarter, man or computer? When man programmed the computer. I'm just saying. We need to be diligent in what we do. Now, another topic that I had, family. Y'all remember when they was talking about giving us reparations? Remember that? They mentioned that a few years back, shortly after that was going around. And getting back to that, before I go into this last topic that I do have, I just lost, like I said, it's been a while. I just lost an aunt. This was my mom's sister, and she was like a mama to me. I lost her to cancer. And what's really wild about that is that she was a nurse in the military all her life, just about. And when that jab came out, she sent me the specs on what's in it, telling me not to take it. But I had no intention on taking it. And it's ironic that she died from cancer. And since she sent me the information, I don't think she took it, but maybe it got pushed on her while she was in the military. But she was an older woman, a lot of wisdom. But I just lost a family member to cancer. I just found out another family member uh, had stage 4. He come back very strong. Then I just found out a friend's mom had stage 4. I mean, so it's got to be in the foods we eat, family. So we have to combat these things by eating the healthy as we can, taking our herbs, fasting. Daniel in the Bible said he fasted 2 to 3 times a week, and that helped his face stay youthful. I appreciate it. We got to be diligent in the study of the word and study of politics in the world because they go hand in hand. We got to stay abreast on the news, even if sometimes it's fake news. Don't listen to it, like Trump says. But sometimes it ain't fake news. And this is where the Most High says, first of all, let no man deceive you. So we got to stay prayed up. And when we say prayed up, when you say prayed up and you're on top of your game spiritually, don't y'all hear that voice? Don't you hear Mother Wisdom talking to you like, no, baby, something ain't right with this one. Check into it. No, young man, go to the right instead of going to the left. You know, the other day I didn't set my alarm clock and the Holy Spirit woke me up. And in my dream, I heard a big boom. And I thought that was something knocking at the door. No, that was the Holy Spirit. Get up so I can get my butt to work. Got to be diligent. Got to be diligent in everything we do because the enemy stand diligent. That joker don't stop. Like he don't stop. He always, like my bishop say, get off me, man. But anyway, remember when they was talking about giving us reparations recently, not back in the day. They said that back in the day to shut us up, and they said it again recently to shut us up. But what do y'all think about these $2,000 tariff checks that Trump has been proposing lately. And even, yes, good. Happened to you too. But these $2,000 tariff checks that Trump has been talking about, they keep, if you notice, they keep coming back and forth through news feeds on the news, through news feeds on the news. Do you think we'll really get those checks? And if so, what would you do with it? Because if I got a $2,000 check right now, believe me, there's some things I can do with that. Now, it's not a whole lot, but it's more than what I got right now on hand. You know what I mean? Um, so yes, it's some things I can do with that. But will we really get it? And does Trump have the power to do that? I got to thinking about that too, family. Like, there's checks and balances in this US government, or it's supposed to be. And what if he sent those checks out? Right. Yeah. That's just like, yeah. When I got the last check they sent for the, I guess, for the COVID thing, I think I got like, me and my wife got like 1,200. We put in our account, chill. We ain't touching it all. But hopefully, if we got it, hopefully I can sit on it, because I think what would happen is, let's say it didn't get approved by the government and Trump just did it, right? Then let's say he did it in January, right before tax season. Then everybody get that, whoever get it, they spend it, and then come taxes, they be like, well, since you got that $2,000 check, we're gonna take it from your refund. You're supposed to get a refund of 2,000. Guess what? You get nothing. They can do that. I mean, listen, they slick. They slick with it, because, but it's so many reasons. Now my mind is racing. Because when they start their NWO, this New World Order, and their mantra is, you will have nothing and be happy, you will own nothing and be happy. Talking about giving everybody a certain amount each month. Could that be? Everybody get 2 grand each month to work with? Could that be a test? So if that's the case, where on God's green earth are they testing that out at? Where are they testing it out at? Because they test out everything somewhere. They tested out Uber somewhere before they brought it to the United States. I'm pretty sure they tested out that cough somewhere before they presented it to the whole world. Listen, Esau ain't stupid. Cut from the same cloth, just a little bit more light skin, but cut from the same cloth, just a little bit more physically weaker, but cut from the same cloth. Esau and Jacob. Hmm. But what would you do with the $2,000 tariff checks? Listen, if they give it to me, that's fine. If I'm in a position at that time I can sit on it, I'm gonna sit on it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give it to my investment guy. Go ahead and let this thing blow up some more. Make me some more money. Because money is a defense. And if I have a good bit of defense, I can make some things happen. And that's what we call upward mobility, right? Having some good defense, paper, moolah, dinero, cheese, whatever you want to call it. You know, it's funny how things work. It's funny the way this world is. Um, they always want to tell us something that we might get, when most of these things they say are nothing but distractions. Most of these things they talk about are nothing but distractions. I'm going to recap what I mentioned this evening, starting from the last one, the $2,000 dividend checks from the tariffs. Will we get those? The Genesis mission that Trump uh, signed an executive order yesterday. trying to propose a nationwide AI database. The Trump administration plan to reduce some of the student loan money that people can get if you're not if you don't have a real if you're not going after a real degree or a real career. Um, Mr. Chauncey Billups and his allegations uh, of gambling against NBA teams, against his home team, his own team. He is a head coach of the Portland Trailblazers. I did also pose a few questions. Uh, the last one of which was, what if Israel never fell? Are we under law or are we under grace? And the first question was, why is the Bible not taught in the school? In which I said all these go hand in hand because, as I mentioned, if Israel never fell, then we would be under the law and there would be no need for grace because we hadn't had fallen. And that's why the Bible is not taught in school because there's too much truth in the Bible. And that's why when we get taught history in school and they get to the slave part, they talk about Africa. They always are giving us a truth, a truth mixed in with the lies. But this is a little bit of truth, but most of it is a lie. How they walked up on the shores of Africa and just, come here, Negro, and took us by the collar and put us on the ship. Come on, man. Come on. They set traps for us. You know that. Nothing is as it nothing is ever as it seems. Nothing. No matter what it is, no matter what our brains tells us, even the personal things we go through, nothing is ever as it seems. Yo, it's been some time, family. It's been some time that I've been here. And I do have, it's been so many things going on. I didn't really know what to talk about. And that's probably a reason why I had these questions in my brain that I want to bring out to think about. Yes, those questions could be teaching moments, but again, I am no ordained minister, a bishop, anything. Now, I could chop it up with you on the side about that, you know what I mean, and give you my intuition about it. I'm a little smart, just a little bit, just not much, but just a little bit. But again, I want to thank y'all just for being here. Uh, I'm praying for everyone because I know we're all going through some stuff. It's always something, like we were talking to our grandparents earlier, and they are in the golden years of their lives. My grandmother was mentioning how they are going to seek what is that, the 55 and up community to live in. So they're going to put their house on the market, and their house is like a mansion. My grandmother is in her 80s, and my grandfather is actually 94, and they're doing great. I mean, this man, my grandfather, he is what, about 6'4", 6'5". He still hunts, and sometimes he hunts on his own. I mean, that's something. A 90-plus-year-old man hunting on his own. So with that said, I mean, we have to keep an eye on our elderly. We have to check on them quite often. Between me and my wife and their children, we try. Or let me say we do, because we actually do it. We don't try to do it, we do it. But it's a blessing to live that long. It's a blessing to be on this platform. It's a blessing to be in this body. It's a blessing to have waken up this morning. It's a blessing for you all to hear my voice and see my face. Oh man, I do want to tell y'all some jokes, but I got to refrain because you'll hear them at a later date. and you will be finding it funny. I got a few things under my belt. Well, I'm gonna hit you with one. I'll give you one joke. One joke. Okay, it's really more like a question, right? You have a man with no arms. You got a man with no arms, right? This man with no arms, he walking, and he coming to the store talking about stick him up. But he ain't got no arms, but he got a gun. So is he armed or is he unarmed? Hmm? You tell me. The armless man coming to the store talking about stick him up. Is he armed or unarmed? He got a gun. Person got a gun in their arm. You know, I got a few of them, y'all. I got a few of them. You know, like I guess I give you another one. You probably heard this. I'm pretty sure you heard this one. But you got the bear and you got the rabbit, right? You got the bear and the rabbit. And they over there, they both looking at each other like this. Just looking at each other. They both taking a dump in the woods, right? And the bear's like, mm, Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Rabbit. And the rabbit says, yes, Mr. Bear. Well, Mr. Rabbit, do you do you have a problem, sir, with do you have a problem with poop sticking to your fur? Mr. Rabbit says, wait, no, sir. I have no problem with that. And Mr. Bear says, well, good. And the bear wiped his butt with the rabbit. I'm just saying, just little silly dad jokes like that, But I did want to I did want to hit you with just a couple of them. Uh, just because. Just because it's something that I do. You know what I mean? And I I do have a lot that you're gonna laugh at. But again, I want to thank you all. This is this is a blessing just to be here again. Um, I do want to tell you, Rich, that's funny. I do want to tell you all. My brother, I'm the youngest in my family. I got 3 older siblings, and my middle sibling, who's 10 years my elder, is finally getting married, and he named me his best man. So in March, at the very end of March, I have to travel up to Cold, Ohio, and I am going to be in my brother's wedding. That is a blessing. That is a wonderful guy. If you've seen him, you've seen me. I look dead on this guy except we bought him. But cool. I'm working on some voices too. And I do got a few voices vamping. But yeah, I'm going to be in a wedding. I was just in a wedding not too long ago. Um, uh, the Willises, formerly Brittany Roseberry, she married. Thank you, C.J. Willis. Uh, we are Willis. What you talking about, Willis? Willis. No, I'm not going to miss Passover. No, I'm not going to miss Passover. I'm going to make all that happen. But listen, a Passover is far. That's in Oklahoma. From my crib, it's like 16 hours to drive. Guess what? I'm going to drive it. I'm going to drive that thing because I'm going to vend too. Me and my wife, we're going to vend. If you ain't know, now you know we're going to vend. I got that sea moss. She got the beauty skincare products. You know what I'm saying? Glam face. I didn't advertise this before. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's a high holy day. Glam face. Look at that. There we go. She got the stuff for your buff. So hey, of course we're gonna vend all of that. And I got the good CMOS. We're gonna put that on there too on the website so you can see it, so you can have it, you can drink it. It does wonders to your belly. It'd be belly be gone. I'm gonna advertise that again. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, y'all, because I love you all. It's a lot of stuff going on. Right now, my house is quiet. I think my niece went to sleep, my 4-year-old niece. But yeah, like I said, it's a lot going on with me. And I pray you all are doing well. You see these, I don't know if you see these little gray hairs. I got more gray hairs now because I'm stressed. The baby getting me. She getting me, y'all. But I love her to life, you know. But family, real talk, be blessed. Stay prayed up. Keep the armor of God on at all times because we are in a battle we have to endure to the end. You know, whether it's our end at the end of our lifeline or the end when Christ comes back, we have to endure. And I want us to all take time out and just pick one person to. This is a challenge to the saints. Pick one person that you know needs some prayer and pray for that person for a whole month and see what kind of change is made there. I can almost guarantee there will be some kind of change there because people need prayer. And the only thing that works is prayer. You know, there will be some kind of change, or whether that person sees the change or not, but I'm pretty sure you will, especially if the person is close to you or you talk to them enough. I'm pretty sure you will see a change in them. Help who we can help, do what we need to do for ourselves, you know, take nothing for granted. There are no coincidences. I've learned that in life. There's nothing that's coincidental. Things happen the way they are supposed to happen. And come out of her. Bear your burden every day. Bear your cross every day. And put your hand on that plow and don't look back. Meaning Christ said, don't look back. Don't have no regrets. Yes, things that we can be regretful of, that we will be regretful of, just let it go. And start afresh, start anew. Because tomorrow ain't promised. But when you do wake up the next day, if we do, listen, take full advantage of it. You know, like I pray to the Most High every day. Thank you for waking me up. I thank you with my whole heart, mind, body, soul, and spirit that you have protected me as I slept and woke me up this morning and put me to bed last night. I thank the Most High for everything: my car, my home, the shoes on my feet, the clothes on my back, the air that I'm breathing. Although this air is starting to change, you know, and just do what we have to do, family. Do what we have to do so that way we can make it to the kingdom. That's all it's about. That's all it's about. And that's a reason why I do this platform. I'm trying to some way through this platform to get Christ his usury. And that's just one instance. So I do have a podcast. I go to work to provide for my family. And I work 12 hours a day if I have to. But I don't do that. I don't do 12 hours. No, I do between 8 and 10. And that's by choice. And let me tell you one more thing. I said I'm an electrician, right? I do electrical work. I got blessed with this new job. I've been on it for 3 months. It's construction, but it's indoors all the time. That's a blessing for one. And for two, I can come in early to get overtime and stay later than was necessary to get overtime. And it's not mandatory. They don't make you. And it's written in their laws they can't make you do overtime. But I get overtime because I stayed longer than what I have to. Because I got a family to feed. I have to give Christ his usury. And I need that bread to buy things for the body as well. We got Purim coming up as well. So I need to buy some things for some people, you know. Hey, y'all, I love y'all. My time is slowly ticking down. I have about a good minute. So I just want to thank you all again for listening to my beautiful voice and looking at my wonderful mug. And most high willing, I will see you all on the next one, roughly a week from today. I love you all with my whole heart. Shalom, shalom. Have a good morning, good night, and a great afternoon. I love you all, and we will reconvene. Shalom, family. I do love you, and only got a few more seconds here. Nah, I'm not gonna say any more jokes. I gave you two too many. I love you all. Ain't gonna get no more out of me. I love you. Take care. Deuces.